Ну что, друзья, меня зовут Михаил Касаткин, Антон Шапочка, Роберт Schleip. Ну и, собственно, мы сейчас хотели одну штучку уточнить. Я сейчас спрошу на русском языке Антона, а он быстренько переведет Роберту. Роберт, подскажите, пожалуйста, очень много вопросов сейчас по поводу фасции в мире, очень много исследований. Как понять, какие хорошие, какие плохие, и насколько вообще важна фасция?
Robert, there are a lot of researches right now about fascia. There are a lot of speeches of that. Could you please help us and suggest us how could we divide if the research is good, or where should we look for the best researches and papers about fascia? Could you suggest something?
Yeah, the best way is to look in the academic literature, not in the commercial literature. So unfortunately, the stuff that is easy to read, that's all over YouTube and that has many colorful pictures with sexy bodies on it, usually is very shallow in terms of the scientific reliability. And unfortunately, the stuff where I orient, where Calasteco, where scientists are looking at, are PDF journal articles that don't have so much colorful pictures. And you need to know which of these journal articles have a high impact factor and a high reliability and have a high citation index related to it. So it's best to have a teacher who can tell you this study has more reliability and is higher in terms of evidence-based medicine respect compared with others.
And on the other answer, if there is a name Robert Schleip or Calasteco or Antonio Steco, I think that you should read the article differently.
So that's a good thing. I have published a book which is a bestseller in Germany all over, Fascial Fitness, and that is very successful for lay people, but I'm ashamed of it, or half ashamed of it, in terms of my scientific colleagues, because it's not very well written scientifically. It's very well written for the lay people, and I just claim this is the way it goes, but I don't say where the idea comes from, and whether it's a hypothesis or a proven fact. So on the other side, I've published several articles, just like Calasteco, which are difficult to read, but there I'm proud of it.
Second and last question. Почему стала так популярна фасция?
Why fascia became like a Cinderella and is so popular right now? What do you think?
Because it has been neglected for many hundred years in medical research, and there is nobody to blame because it's a very plausible aspect that if you have a packaging, a muscle, and it has a fascial tissue around it, you remove the packaging and then you can understand the muscle. That was very plausible, but now in the last 10-15 years, we have learned not by more smart people with better hands, but by better measurement instruments, that you change the whole force transmission in the muscle if you remove the fascial envelope. So the envelopes are not just packaging, they are an essential part of the force transmission of every muscle. On average, 30% of the contractile force of a muscle does not go from origin to insertion, it goes into the fascial packaging, which then goes to completely different joints. So the gluteus maximus is now so with the ankle stability, but only if you address how many fibers, and it's like 70 or 80% of the fibers who are not going into the femur. So that is the excitement. So that you realize this tissue is an essential part, and we need to get it back on the dissection table and into the books and into our analysis.
And I have my own question. It's about our dialogue this morning. Could you please help us and explain what's the new insights into abdominal pressure and thoracolumbar fascia, all these interconnections which we discussed this morning?
Okay, this is a new study from my friend Mark Driscoll, and he presented the study this morning. And it's a very historic study because it's an old debate. On one side, it was his mentor, Stuart McGill, who said the erector spinae are the main tissue for spinal stability in the lumbar spine. His opponent was Serge Krakowetsky, that was also a mentor of Mark Driscoll when Mark Driscoll was a young student. And he said the lumbar dorsal fascia is very essential. And they were debating, but they only had preliminary data for measurement. 20 years ago, Stuart McGill had the better data, and he won the debate in the scientific journals. Now, 20 years later, their student is the biggest biomechanical researcher in North America, and he's standing on the shoulders of his future mentors, and he has better tools than any of them had. And now he examined which of these tissues, lumbar dorsal fascia, erector spinae, and other paraspinal muscles, but also intra-abdominal pressure from front, is how potent compared with the others. Of course, you use all three, but the question are they equal, or is one of them double potent compared with the others for spinal stability? So, for example, if you lean forward and you don't want to go here, so in some conditions you want spinal stability. And then the question is, do you use the abdominals with the pelvic floor? That would be intra-abdominal pressure, and all the Pilates people would be very happy. Or you do muscular strength training for the erector spinae, or you do fascia treatment. So he compared all three, and the intra-abdominal pressure is not ridiculous. So it has a significant contribution. So you have 20% improvement if you increase the intra-abdominal pressure, which is not ridiculous. But if instead of intra-abdominal pressure, you only use the erector spinae, of course you should mix it, but for comparison you only do one of them, it's twice as strong. So if you had a choice, either Pilates, core stability, or power training would be more efficient for that one function. Of course, you combine. But if you combine it, you should not pay equal attention, you should pay double attention to how well you do the erector spinae. And now the lumbar dorsal fascia was even 50% stronger or more potent for lumbar stability than even the erector spinae. So that means for low back stability training, fascia is not an add-on for the last 10 minutes, like it has been. It's the basis. And then you do muscle strength training, and then if you have time, you do core stability training.
Cool.
So I think that's changing, revolutionizing.
We need you in Russia.
Yeah, I'm there, and I need your support.
Yes, guys.
Because fascia is not the solution, but it has to be complemented by core stability training, it has to be complemented by muscle training, but it is not the small sister. It is a big guy within the family.
Cool. Друзья, вот такие дебаты, разговоры, мне кажется, надо приглашать Роберта в Россию как минимум на онлайн и как максимум на живые семинары, ну, наверное, у нас все получится.
А человек за кадром сделает все для этого.
Я буду подсоблять. И Дима Смирнов тоже порадуется тем новостям, которые мы слышали от самого Роберта. Роберт, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was great.